to tell you something. If someone said that my daughter was a hot piece of ass, I would put my fist through his face.
Our LGBTQ citizens.
It's like he just learned it, you know?
LGBTQ.
She should spend more time focusing on her family and dying career. When she tweets about him, she uses a toilet emoticon rather than Trump's name. She never runs out of bad things to call him. At the fundraiser, she raised the specter of President Trump.
And I think that if breaking news ever happened and he had to go to the podium...
All right, quick one. Cher destroys Trump and Trump goes nuts. And tonight we are rolling the clip energy, the receipts, the throwbacks, and the little hallway beats most folks missed. You probably saw the headline, the quote, the instant fireworks. Cool. But do you know what happened after? Who scrambled and why the Trump meltdown felt like the same movie with a louder soundtrack? That is what this video is about. I am walking you through what Cher actually said, how Trump reacted in real time, the follow-up spin, and the pattern that keeps repeating. If you want the receipts with the roast, tap subscribe right now and drop your verdict in the comments. Was it a standard clapback or a classic Trump loses it kind of night? So let's rewind for a second because this is not a one-off. Cher and Trump have history, years of it. She is a legend with a big stage and a bigger spine, and she does not mumble when it comes to character or cruelty. Different platforms, same vibe. She lands a clean line, usually tied to something specific, ethics or truth or basic decency. She does not scream. She hits the point and lets the silence do the work. Every time she does, you can set a kitchen timer.
Say one nice thing about him.
Cher considered her options. After all the bad things she said about her nemesis, would she rather eat her words or eat the tongue?
There's nothing nice about him. I can't say one nice thing about him. He's an asshole. He's... No, he's such a dangerous... I don't know how he is a candidate. He is so dangerous, and what he brings to my country, what he's awakened in my country is bigotry and distrust and a certain kind of supremacy in certain groups, and he lies. He tells something, and then you go back and you see what he said, and it seems like the truth both times. He's so terrific at lying. I've never seen anybody so good. I mean, it's amazing. I could go on and on this subject forever because I'm so traumatized by him. She screwed up, and that's for sure. But I've known her for a long time, and I think that she will do her best.
Trump posts, assigns a nickname, claims nobody cares, then spends the evening proving everybody did. We have seen it in election seasons, award seasons, hurricane seasons. Pick a season. The loop is the loop. Here is how this one played out. Cher drops the line that pricks the balloon. It is tight, sharp, and you can hear that half-second delay before the laugh. The oh wow processing moment, the kind that sticks. Captions hit fast. The quote gets burned into every repost, big type, bottom third, impossible to miss. Now watch the clock. The first reply lands late, the kind of late that screams group chat triage. It runs through the same 3 steps like a dance routine. Step 1, it is fake news. Step 2, she is washed up. Step 3, the press is evil for repeating the quote he is now repeating.
I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology.
Cher, what was your reaction when you heard him say that?
Oh, come on. And he says those letters like a child that's just learning the alphabet, and then pokes his finger in the air for Q. I mean, he's the most disingenuous man I've ever seen. And I want to tell you, my people will not believe him for a minute. And I read that he was at a 7-hour, closed-door meeting with 400 of the most conservative, hate gay people, LGBT community that there are. So how does he go from that meeting to telling my people that he will protect them? One of the reasons that I have gone out to them, because I care for all Americans, and I'm not kidding you. America has been so great for me. I was a poor child. I had dyslexia. Nothing would say that I would succeed in this country, and I did. And I fear for those people, and not just because of my son.
Then the tempo spikes. A second post quotes the line again while claiming no one watched it. A third one drops a poll that magically proves he is the main character on a day he was not. If you want a single frame that explains the modern media loop, it is a man yelling, "Ignore this," while pointing at the very thing he cannot stop magnifying. Tiny hypothetical, clearly labeled 30 seconds, and then we go right back to receipts. Picture the phone lighting up like Vegas. An aide says we can just ignore it. Another aide says we hit back 3 times and call it a win. One poor intern whispers, "Sir, caps lock is still on." Okay, cut the bit. Here is what actually happened. The posts landed. The nickname slid off like cheap tape. The follow-up pretended it was nothing while writing a paragraph about why it was nothing. When you dedicate a paragraph to nothing, it is not nothing. You heard the splash. Here are the ripples. After the quote takes off, you can catch a small murmur in the room on a side angle, the kind that sounds like agreement more than applause. That matters, because it tells you people were not laughing just because a celebrity spoke. They were nodding because the line matched the record, and the timing matters too.
Someone who would bring down the country because he doesn't win does not deserve anything, deserves nothing. He deserves nothing. He does not deserve any kind of respect, loyalty. I don't think he has 2 moral fibers to rub together. He wants to be the king, but he doesn't want to do the work. And I can't imagine, it's like breaking news. South Korea has bombed North Korea, and President Trump comes up to the to the podium and says, "What? What could he possibly say? He doesn't know anything about anything. I'll call my friend Vladimir, and he'll tell me what to do."
We would just all go.
Trump supporters fired back. Cher is way past her expiration date. Time to dump her in the trash. Cher's response, "Had I known I'd get such vicious hate for supporting Hillary, I would have done it anyway." Bang, bang, these two like to shoot each other down.
Cher is somewhat of a loser. She's lonely, she's unhappy.
I just think she's
Jeannie Mo, CNN, New York.
That late-night reply window often pairs with the fundraising email blast. You know the subject line: emergency, witch hunt. Hollywood elites are after me. The nouns change. The ask never does. Outrage in, donations out. That is not a conspiracy. That is a workflow. Let's slot the timeline Tetris so you can actually feel the chain reaction. Cher's line lands at night. Clip explodes on socials within minutes. First post in all caps. Second post says, "Nobody cares," while quoting the line word for word. A friendly host runs interference and calls it jealousy. Opposition stitches the entire sequence into a clean montage by morning, and now the thing that did not matter is trending. This is why Trump goes nuts after celebrity clapbacks. He pours gas on the spark and then files a complaint about the fire. PR versus reality, my favorite split screen. PR says Cher is irrelevant. Reality says her quote travels because it is specific, values-based, and delivered by someone who has earned her mic.
This is the beginning of our 100 days of resistance. We're gonna win, folks. A little bit of pain, a little bit of discomfort, but a lot of work on our part will stop this man.
Thousands of people joined filmmaker Michael Moore Cher, Robert De Niro, Alec Baldwin, and many other celebrities and activists at a pre-inauguration protest tonight in New York City outside of Trump International Hotel. Cher was one of the speakers.
I understand how the people were so desperate to pick this man, you know, this unbelievable narcissist who could change the face of our world if we let him. And the only thing that will save us is you.
And we are joined now by phone by Cher. Cher, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Hi, honey.
How are you? What was it like out there with that crowd tonight?
Well, I have a hard time speaking in front of crowds, so it was a little bit scary, but they were great and energized, and there were all kinds of people there, and it was really exciting. And you know what the best thing about it was? You can be depressed or you can get involved. And when you're with a bunch of people who are involved, then you feel optimistic and you feel good.
And tomorrow, will you be joining the Women's March in Washington?
Yes.
So this will be two in a row for you. Actually, it's tomorrow. It's the day after tomorrow, the day after the inauguration. And what is the feeling among people? I know that a lot of the people who are out there protesting now might not have been able to do that the day after the election because they were so depressed, they were hit so hard by this election. But there seems to be a different kind of energy out there now.
Well, I haven't been to many of them, but I was at the first one down after the election. I got caught up in that one, and that was a beautiful demonstration. It reminded me, these demonstrations remind me of the energy that when people finally got hip to Vietnam, and people just came out and they didn't care what happened, and they just needed to have their voices heard, and that was it.
Cher, I've talked to people who are going to the march in Washington who haven't marched or been out there in the street since Vietnam protests that you just mentioned. And there's a very similar feel to this in terms of scale and urgency.
Well, you know, if you feel that there's, you know, this is one thing too, Lawrence, is that I understand. I mean, people, you know, they think that we're completely out of touch. And I said tonight, you know, I introduced myself. I said, you know, I am an elitist libtard whose grandmother picked cotton, whose mother was, during the Depression, sang in bars when she was 18 years old, and I wore, you know, rubber bands on my shoes sometimes. So it's not like I don't know what these people are feeling. I know what it's like to have no one care what you feel, no one interested, and you have no voice. And somehow, the most elitist person of all somehow tapped into them and made each one of them think that he could solve their problem. So I only have support for those people.
And it's so ironic, Cher, that with your background and the way you grew up, you get accused of being the elitist, and Donald Trump, who stands up and tells us the names of all the fancy schools he went to and how rich he is and how smart he is, living on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan, he claims he's not the elitist.
Well, I mean, look, he's if network married face in the crowd, and you got, I don't even know what you got out of that. You know, he's that kind of Joseph McCarthy kind of person who can just, you know, bluster his way through stuff till he gets found out. And somehow he's got a get out of jail card free. He can do anything. And I think, you know, we'll see what he actually does. I don't have hope for it, but I would be happy for the people if he did something. But my God, you know, he's such a liar. I'm just so shocked that you could obviously lie your way into the White House.
Well, Cher, he is arriving with the lowest approval rating in history, this massive disapproval rating that he has, and so something has gone wrong, certainly since election night. And now everyone out there watching, you have your movie watching recommendations for the weekend from Cher, Network and Face in the
PR says the room was rigged. Reality says there were mixed folks in that crowd, and you can still hear the nods you cannot see. PR says Trump was unbothered. Reality says multiple late-night bursts, a typo correction, and a next-day spin trying to frame total attention as total victory. Unbothered people do not live in the comments section at 1 a.m. Unbothered people finish a movie and go to bed. Satire cutaway, clearly labeled 15 seconds. If this were a sitcom, the episode is Caps Lock at Midnight 2, the sequel. Cold open on a phone at full brightness. Spellcheck packs a bag and leaves the apartment. Audience laughter. Freeze frame. Back to reality. The posts are real. The pattern is real. The morning walk back is real. This is the rhythm every time. Now let's talk about Cher's delivery, because that is the trap. She does not chase him. She centers principle and lets him chase her. She points at the scoreboard, not the crowd noise. The line hits, the silence hangs for a beat, and the room chooses. That silence is brutal. It is honest. Trump cannot stand silence. He fills it with volume, and the volume becomes the story. That is the contrast on screen. A grown-up using a sentence. A man trying to drown out a sentence with a flood. If you are liking the receipts with jokes, hit like right now, drop your call in the comments. Was this a routine clapback or a full Trump meltdown? And make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss the next one. Back to incentives, because motive is the compass. Attention keeps the brand inflated. Outrage drives small dollar fundraising. Conflict distracts from worse headlines. That triangle explains why he keeps picking fights with famous people who outpunch him in culture. When Cher hits the character question, he tries to change the subject by making himself the subject. That would be clever strategy if the new subject did not remind everyone why the old subject hit so hard. He ends up distributing her line to people who missed it the first time. He is the booster rocket on his own bad day. Hidden beat most viewers miss: the celebrity echo. Late-night comics clip the moment and add the scalpel joke that stitches it to the week's news. Musicians repost with one sentence that lands like a gavel. Directors, actors, athletes join a chorus. Trump calls them washed up, which is rich coming from a guy still quoting a reality TV tagline like it is a governing philosophy. And the second he swings at Hollywood, he extends the life of the clip by another 12 hours. He is the syndication package for the roast he hates. Pattern check so nobody says this is a fluke. We have seen this dance across years. Cher speaks with moral clarity. Trump reacts with volume. PR insists it is nothing while writing 5 statements about it. A surrogate tries the "it was a joke" defense the next morning. The context was the clip. The context is the repetition. If every alarm is false, why is the block still full of smoke? Time for the button, clean and simple. Donald Trump is the guy who shanks a field goal and demands the league investigate the goalposts for bias. Cher just points to the replay, shrugs, and says, "Look, you can see it." That is why this keeps landing. It is not celebrity worship. It is a famous person using a clear sentence to say what everyone else tiptoes around. The math does not math. The story does not add up. And every time Trump tries to shout over the evidence, he clocks himself with his own echo. If you are watching on Instagram, follow. If you are watching on YouTube, subscribe to America Facticity for more breaking news. Toss your take below and tag a friend who pretends they do not watch politics and then texts you every time Trump posts after midnight. I will see you in the next one, where we pull the next clip, read the next post, and watch the pattern repeat in real time.